All right. Want to dive into the world of wholesale fish, crustaceans, and mollusks.
Quite a mouthful.
Uh-huh.
But hey, so is a plate full of fresh-caught lobster, right?
See it? You said it. We're here to help you navigate the exciting waters of this unique career path. We've got our trusty stack of RoleCatcher resources ready to go, and today we're diving deep into what it takes to land that dream job. No more generic interview answers. We're getting specific.
It's all about showcasing the right blend of skills for this particular role. Market savvy, industry knowledge, and that genuine passion for seafood. That's key.
I like it. So the RoleCatcher guide paints a picture of these merchants as the connectors, the deal makers. They're out there finding buyers for all that fresh off the boat seafood, negotiating prices. Sounds pretty fast-paced and exciting. What would you say is the biggest misconception people might have about this role?
Many people, they underestimate the analytical side of things. This isn't just about knowing your cod from your crab, though that certainly helps.
Right. Got to tell your tune apart.
Exactly. But the scope section in the guide really emphasizes that successful wholesale merchants are constantly researching trends, analyzing data, really anticipating market shifts.
So it's about business strategy as much as it is about knowing your species, your product.
Absolutely.
Got it. Speaking of which, the guide also dives into the pros and cons of this career path. And the potential for high earnings is definitely enticing, but it also sounds like it takes a certain kind of person to thrive in such a demanding environment. What are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. You've got to be adaptable. That flexible schedule often translates to long hours working across different time zones. You have to be dedicated, that's for sure.
And that's where I think RoleCatcher's AI can really be a game changer, wouldn't you say?
90%.
It's like having a personal coach in your pocket, right?
Yeah.
Helping you tailor your interview responses to the specific demands of the role.
Exactly. It analyzes the job description, identifies key skills, and then it kind of nudges you to highlight your relevant experience. For example, if the job requires managing a demanding workload, the AI might suggest, hey, mention a time you successfully juggled deals across multiple time zones, maybe handled a last-minute shipment delay, things like that.
It's about connecting the dots for the interviewer, proving you have what it takes to handle the heat.
Right, showing them you're proactive.
So should we dive into some of these interview questions then? Get into the nitty-gritty.
Let's do it. I think we'll both be impressed with the level of detail and insight RoleCatcher provides.
All right, question number 1, coming right up. Can you tell us about your experience working in the seafood industry? Now, I'm assuming they're not expecting a 10-page dissertation on the life cycle of a Dungeness crab here.
Right. No need to go full marine biologist on them.
Exactly. What are they really getting at with this question, in your opinion?
They're looking for genuine passion, firsthand knowledge. Have you worked on a fishing boat? Processing plant? Even a summer job at a bustling seafood market?
Okay, so really any exposure.
Exactly. Share those experiences. Those really demonstrate a genuine commitment to the field.
The guide calls this demonstrating your passion. And they even have a section on how their AI can help you shape your answer to showcase this. So it's not just about listing jobs on your resume, right? It's about bringing those experiences to life and letting your enthusiasm shine through.
Exactly. And speaking of enthusiasm, don't get carried away and, exaggerate your experience. The guide specifically warns against inflating your knowledge or skills.
Right. Honesty is the best policy, especially when you're dealing with something as delicate as fresh seafood. Okay, question 2 gets pretty direct. How do you stay current with seafood industry trends and regulations?
This is where you prove you're in it for the long haul.
I see, so you're really committed.
Yeah. Mentioning specific trade publications you read, perhaps attending relevant conferences or webinars.
Following industry blogs, listening to podcasts, maybe even this one.
Precisely. Show them you're actively learning, engaged in the future of the industry. The guide even suggests mentioning a recent piece of legislation or a new sustainability practice that caught your eye. What are some of the recent developments you've come across in your research that candidates should be aware of?
Well, one thing that really stood out to me was the increasing demand for traceable seafood.
Oh, absolutely.
Consumers wanting to know where their fish comes from, how it was caught,
The whole story.
Yeah, what impact it has on the environment. It's like that farm-to-table movement, but for seafood, right?
Exactly. Transparency is key.
So if you're going for an interview, maybe brush up on things like blockchain technology for tracking seafood or sustainable fishing certifications.
All those buzzwords, they definitely make a difference.
Show them you're aware of the evolving consumer landscape.
Absolutely.
Okay, ready for question number 3?
Him?
This one throws you right into the deep end of negotiations. How did you negotiate pricing with suppliers? What's your approach?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Feels like where things could get a little fishy.
Right,
You want to get the best possible deal for your company,
of course.
but you also don't want to alienate your suppliers. It's all about finding that balance.
Finding that sweet spot, absolutely.
So what's the secret?
Well, the guide really emphasizes a win-win approach. It even suggests using RoleCatcher's AI to analyze, your past negotiations, identify areas where you could have created a more mutually beneficial outcome.
Interesting. So instead of viewing it as like this battle,
Yeah.
you're approaching it as a partnership.
Exactly.
Okay, I like that. What are some concrete examples of that? What if a supplier comes back with a price that's just like not feasible?
That's a great question, and the guide actually provides some excellent strategies for handling those situations. Instead of just pushing back on price, could you offer, say, a larger order in exchange for a discount?
Okay, so you're giving to get a little.
Exactly. Or perhaps explore more flexible payment terms.
Oh, that's a good one.
There are always options.
Be creative. Find those solutions that work for everyone involved.
100%. And on that note, the guide also cautions against bad-mouthing past suppliers.
Even if you had a terrible experience.
Even then, it's about maintaining a professional demeanor, focusing on solutions, not placing blame.
All right, so would you say that's a big no-no?
Definitely. Keep it positive.
Got it. Okay. Now, question 4 tackles a crucial aspect of the business. How do you ensure the quality of the seafood you sell? No pressure or anything.
Right, just the customer's health and satisfaction on the line.
But seriously, this is huge, right? You're responsible for making sure the seafood that reaches consumers is top-notch.
Absolutely. This is your opportunity to shine. The guide emphasizes the importance of showcasing your, meticulous inspection process. Do you have experience with specific grading systems for different types of seafood?
That's a good point. I imagine it's not enough to just say, like, oh yeah, it looks fresh to me.
Right. It smells fine. No, you need to demonstrate a deeper understanding.
Yeah, you gotta know your stuff.
Exactly. Mention any relevant certifications or quality assurance programs you're familiar with. Talk about how you build relationships with trusted suppliers.
So you've got your go-to people, you trust their judgment.
Exactly. The guide even suggests offering a specific example, like describing a time you rejected a shipment because it didn't meet your standards.
Oh, that's good, yeah.
Even though it might have been a tough call.
It shows you're serious about quality, not afraid to make tough decisions.
Exactly.
Okay, question 5 dives into the logistical side of things. How do you manage inventory and stock levels? This feels particularly important when you're dealing with a perishable product, right?
Oh, absolutely. Time is money. No one wants a warehouse full of, well, let's just say less than fresh seafood.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
So what are some key things to highlight when answering this question?
The guide recommends mentioning specific inventory management systems you've used, or even describing a time when you successfully anticipated maybe a surge in demand or navigated a supply chain disruption.
Okay, so thinking on your feet.
Exactly. For example, remember that recent storm that disrupted crab fishing in Alaska?
Oh yeah, that was rough.
How would you have handled that situation?
Right, put yourself in those shoes. So instead of just listing software programs, you're demonstrating your ability to think critically and adapt to those unexpected challenges.
Precisely. And remember, honesty is key. If you're not a spreadsheet wizard, don't pretend to be.
No need to fake it till you make it.
Exactly. The guide says it's okay to admit that you're still learning about, specific inventory software, but emphasize your willingness to learn, to adapt.
Got it. Show them you're eager to learn. Okay, moving on to question 6. Can you describe a time when you had to resolve a difficult customer complaint? Because, let's face it, even with the freshest catch, there's always a chance for things to go wrong.
Always, always. That's just the nature of the business.
And how you handle those situations, that really speaks volumes, right?
It's all about customer service.
It's about your customer service skills, yeah.
You want to be that calm and collected person.
Exactly. Empathetic.
Empathetic, that's the word. Solution-oriented.
Absolutely. The guide suggests using the STAR method: situation, task, action, result.
Could you break that down for our listeners who might not be familiar with that?
Sure. So you start by describing the situation. What was the customer's complaint, right? Then you outline your task. What was your role in resolving the issue? Next, you detail the action you took. How did you address the complaint? And finally, you highlight the positive result. How did your actions resolve the situation and satisfy the customer?
So you're telling the story from beginning to end.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Clearly and concisely.
It's a clear and concise way to showcase those problem-solving abilities. And remember, even if the customer was being, like, completely unreasonable, stay professional.
Always. Always maintain that professionalism. Don't throw anyone under the bus, even metaphorically speaking.
Kill them with kindness. Exactly. Okay, ready to reel in those big deals with question 7?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. What strategies do you use to increase sales and revenue?
Now we're talking. This is where you need to showcase your business acumen, right?
Exactly. Think big picture.
What are some strategies that would impress a hiring manager in this industry?
The guide highlights the importance of identifying new markets, maybe negotiating favorable shipping rates, even brainstorming creative marketing campaigns.
So instead of just saying, I'm really good at sales, you're giving concrete examples of, like, what you've accomplished.
Precisely. And don't be afraid to get specific with numbers. The guide says that quantifying your achievements can make a huge impact.
Oh, I bet. So give me an example of that.
For example, instead of saying, I increased sales, say, I implemented a new marketing strategy that resulted in a 15% increase in sales within 3 months.
Ooh, I like it. Measurable results. Numbers speak volumes. Okay, moving on to question 8. How do you prioritize and manage multiple tasks and projects? This feels like a juggling act, especially in a field as fast-paced as wholesale seafood.
Oh, tell me about it. You need to be organized, efficient, able to handle the pressure of multiple deadlines.
So how do you do it?
Well, the guide recommends mentioning tools or techniques you use to stay on top of your workload. Maybe you're a master of to-do lists or a whiz with project management software.
Okay, so whatever your system is, make sure you can articulate it.
Exactly. And remember, it's not just about listing tools. It's about showcasing your ability to adapt, to prioritize, even when things get hectic.
Because they will get hectic.
Oh, 100%. Things can change faster than you can say Alaskan king crab.
That's a good one.
Which leads us perfectly to question 9, which really puts your ability to think on your feet to the test.
Oh boy, here we go.
This one is, can you tell us about a time when you had to make a difficult decision, maybe related to pricing or inventory management?
Oh, this feels like a test. What are they really looking for here?
They want to understand your thought process. The guide emphasizes walking them through your reasoning, highlight the factors you considered, and ultimately how your decision benefited the company.
So even if the situation didn't have, like, a fairy tale ending, it's more about showing that you can think critically under pressure. Right?
Yes, exactly.
Make those tough calls when necessary.
Precisely. And don't be afraid to acknowledge the lessons learned from a difficult experience. It shows humility and a willingness to grow.
You learn from your mistakes. That's the key takeaway.
100%.
All right, on to our final question for today's deep dive, and it's a big one. How do you ensure compliance with health and safety regulations? This isn't just about, good business practice. This is about public safety.
Oh, absolutely. This one is non-negotiable.
This is serious stuff.
The guide stresses the importance of demonstrating a thorough understanding of relevant regulations, mentioning specific training programs or certifications you have, or even just highlighting your commitment to staying updated on the latest safety protocols.
So you're on top of it. And what about RoleCatcher's AI? Can it help with this question too?
Definitely. The AI can actually scan for any recent changes in regulations or even provide links to relevant training resources. It's like having a compliance officer right there with you.
Wow, that's incredible. So to wrap up this section on interview questions, it seems like the key is to be prepared, be honest, and be passionate. And with RoleCatcher's AI-powered tools by your side, you'll have the confidence to navigate those tricky waters and reel in that dream job.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Now, before we move on to discussing the different career stages outlined in the guide, let's take a quick break to hear a word from our sponsors.
And we're back, diving right back into the world of wholesale fish, crustaceans, and mollusks. So we've covered a lot of ground, from understanding the nuances of the role to acing those tricky interview questions. But what happens after you land that dream job? What does the future hold?
That's where the real journey begins.
Right. So where do we go from here?
Well, the Advancing Your Career section in the RoleCatcher Guide, this is a goldmine of information, really. It emphasizes that continuous learning, it's essential in this industry. It's always changing.
So it's not just about landing the job, it's about, staying ahead of the curve?
Exactly. You've got new species rising in popularity, regulations changing constantly, and sustainability that's more important than ever. You really got to be a lifelong learner, to really thrive in this business.
Absolutely. The guide mentions attending industry conferences, subscribing to trade publications, but what are some other, like, hands-on things that people can do to stay ahead? What are some things you do to stay informed?
Well, for me, I make it a point to really connect with people at all levels of the supply chain, So I'll be chatting with fishermen about the challenges they're facing out on the water, picking the brains of chefs about those emerging culinary trends, maybe even attend a seafood trade show, see what's new and exciting.
So it's about really immersing yourself in that world.
Exactly, getting your hands dirty.
That's a great reminder that networking is crucial in this industry. Building relationships with suppliers, buyers, even competitors, that can open doors to new opportunities, invaluable insight.
Oh, absolutely. Iron sharpens iron, as they say. And speaking of opportunities, the guide also highlights the importance of showcasing your capabilities, because it's not enough to just do a good job. You need to document those successes, make them visible.
So it's like building a portfolio, but for your career.
Precisely. Keep track of those successful deals, those times you went above and beyond for a client, instances where you identified a new market opportunity. Maybe. The guide even suggests, creating a personal website. Showcase your expertise, your thought leadership within the industry.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, like a digital display case for your career. Now, I'm curious about those different career paths within this field. What can someone, expect as they progress, say, from an entry-level position to a more senior role?
Well, the career stages section of the RoleCatcher guide, it offers a fascinating look at those trajectories. And it highlights that, while most people start in those entry-level roles, maybe assisting senior merchants, learning the
They
ropes.
got to pay your dues.
Exactly. There are actually many different paths you can take.
Oh, really? So you might start as an assistant, but you could end up specializing in a particular species, managing a team, even running your own import-export business.
All of the above. The guide even includes examples of people at different stages of their careers, just highlighting that diverse range of possibilities. You could become an expert in sustainable seafood sourcing, a whiz at logistics and supply chain management. You could even be like the caviar connoisseur, profiled in the guide, a renowned expert on a specific product.
Wow, a caviar connoisseur. That's a dream job title right there. But seriously, it sounds like there's room for all sorts of personalities and passions within this field. So what would you say, just to kind of wrap things up here, what would you say is the most rewarding aspect of a career as a wholesale fish, crustaceans, and mollusks merchant?
For me, it's the combination of factors. You get to work with a product that you're passionate about. Hopefully, you're constantly learning and evolving, and you're playing a vital role in connecting people with delicious, sustainable seafood.
It's more than just a job, it's a way of life.
It really is.
That's beautiful. Well, there you have it, folks. A deep dive into the world of wholesale fish, crustaceans, and mollusks merchants. If you're ready to trade in that boring desk job for a chance to work with a product you're passionate about, this just might be the career for you. Remember, RoleCatcher has your back every step of the way, from crafting that perfect resume to acing those interviews to navigating those exciting career paths we talked about. Go get them. Until next time, happy fishing, everyone.